Hello, loves. How are you? I know I missed you last full moon. I've been gone. You didn't get written horoscopes or a video. And I was actually on vacation. And even though I planned it to be kind of a work vacation where I would, you know, do a little work every night or whatever, I planned on doing my horoscopes, you know, in Colorado while I was up there, but I couldn't even turn a computer on. Like I just couldn't even like deal with anything that was about my old world. So I unplugged. I was all alone a week in Colorado and had the most amazing time of my life ever. So I kind of feel like changed and a lot more solid in who I am, but so much more hopeful and passionate about my soul's purpose and what I'm here to do. So I've also gotten to have a really powerful narrowing down of what I'm here to do and what other people are supposed to do for me in my life instead of me always doing everything and carrying the whole load. So that's really exciting. So I wanted to talk to you about this eclipse, and you know, and the season that we're in right now is so much about me. So that's why, of course, I wanted to talk to you about it, you know, especially the last full moon is Pisces Virgo, and I'm Pisces Virgo, just in the opposite directions. And this eclipse is at 20 degrees Virgo, and my sun is 20 degrees Pisces. So I am for sure feeling this one hardcore. So I'm also feeling how everybody is kind of, what's kind of happening right now is there's a very big disorientation where we aren't really sure that we're doing the correct thing, or we aren't really sure that we're on the correct path. Or we're just, there's an uncertainty here. And I do want you to notice that if you go deeper into this uncertainty, it's not that you're feeling the foretelling of bad news or you're going to lose it all or everything's doom and gloom. It's just showing you and helping you pinpoint in on what is not working any longer in your life. So we really have to start aligning to that knowing of when we are in situations that aren't working or that need to change or need to be upgraded. They just start to feel a bit uncomfortable. You won't have the same confidence in them, the same faith in them, the same joy, you know, surrounding what you're doing. And if you think about it, that's life, you know. We go through so many phases. Like I always say, like if I had gotten the tattoos that I wanted in my early 20s or in my teen days, I would be so scorning and like hating those right now because I just changed so much, you know. So we all naturally go through these changes that we don't really realize until you don't understand how different you change in your 40s until you walk it. You don't understand how much you change in your 60s until you walk it. So but one of the things with our lives right now is that we are just feeling like we don't fit into something anymore. And what it's going to create is that a lot of us are going to be making huge and drastic changes in our lives, with our career, with where we live, with the people in our life, where something is just upgrading in us, in kind of knowing that we're creating our worlds. And why not create one that is magical and wonderful and beautiful and full of bliss? You know, why not? You know, why stay in something that does not make you happy, that makes you feel less than, that doesn't feed your soul? Why would you do that when there is the option always to make a change and to go towards something that is more honoring of you? So while you're sitting in this pause, you might not really want to do anything, you might not have any energy, you'll just kind of feel this lower feeling that like something's not okay. You know, there's just this feeling that something's not right. And like I said, you can take that and sail it into the world of misery and fear because am I foretelling something? The world's gonna explode? You know, you can of course always take it into that, but what you really need to just start seeing is everything that has you feeling uncomfortable and not so safe and not so sure anymore is trying to show you that there are some changes that you need to make with your life in kind of asking for more and in kind of expecting that things can be better. So what we're going to be experiencing for over a year to come now is the official boot camp of this year, like I've been talking about for years, where this is where we really people are going to change things so dramatically that it's going to shock a lot of us. Someone could be in a marriage for 20 years and they're like, that's it. They could be at this job for 20 years and they're like, that's it. They could live in this town their whole entire life and they're 60 years old, but they're going to be like, that's it. And they're going to leap off into something else that lights them up, that feeds them, that empowers them, because we really don't realize that too, that we get really used to these things. They're familiar. There's not change. You can expect what's going to happen. But for a lot of people now, that's starting to feel dead and boring. And there's these things inside of us that are saying, there's more, there's more, there's more out there. And you just really have to make the efforts to go out and live this thing. So, a big part of this too is that, we're also very much in our thoughts, and I keep saying this in posts on Instagram and Facebook, but really kind of opening you to what you're saying and how you're putting it out there. Because the thing about Virgo, Virgo is one of my favorite signs, but I have not liked Virgo at all since Jupiter went into Virgo. Like every nasty email I ever get, it's always going to be someone with Virgo now. It's only Virgo. I can know that even if I don't know that, I have to check it, is Virgo. I can hear it. It's the sound of Virgo. It's nitpicky. It's critical. It's putting people in their place. It's kind of making people feel smaller is what a Virgo can really do a lot. And that's my moon sign, so I'm fessing up to, I know what you're doing when you're doing this. And you might think, oh, whatever, I'm entitled to do this. But Virgo can really undercut things and take them to this lower level that then ends up manifesting these lives that never work out, that never make them happy. I also have kind of noticed that people who get most stuck in life and have a harder time rising to better situations have Virgo strong in their chart, because they just get into that nitpicky lower vibration, and then they spend a lot of time focusing on everything that's wrong, and they forget that there's actually the opportunity to turn that around and start manifesting a more beautiful life. So that's kind of what we're all feeling right now. We're very aware of where we're hypercritical, negative, envious of other people, wanting to put them down, wanting to just say things to, well, you da-da-da-da-da. We never like that. So I always try to caution people, don't do that to people. We all know what our issues are. We all know what our faults are. We all know what we need to work on and heal. But the way to really make that happen and do it is through love and tenderness and compassion and understanding. It's not through making you feel like shit. Like, it doesn't work. You feel better because you just put them in your place and you're like, so there, I told you off. But then you don't realize that through that you have manifested 100 more negative things that are going to cut you down, that are going to bang you at your knees, that are going to slam you to the ground because you're not operating with integrity. So we're learning about the power of our words. We're learning about the power of what we put out there, and really kind of trying to come to more of that surrendering point of life. In understanding that everyone's doing the best they can, everyone's wounded and trying to heal from what they had to experience, everyone's trying to have a better life, everyone wants to be happy. So we need to pay attention to where we're putting out energy that takes that from us and keeps it from us. If you keep doing these same bad deeds, you're not going to have this bounty come to you. And a lot of the energies over the next year and into 2016 are just really about helping you see where things aren't working. And you're going to notice it because you feel bad, you don't feel okay, you don't feel safe, you feel like something's wrong. And instead of going further into that and trying to nitpick it apart, it's best to just know that it's best to just then open to something coming to help guide you into a new direction, you know, instead of just sitting there thinking, oh my God, everything is so messed up, I'm so depressed, everything is just fucked, you know, this world is going down the tube, you know, instead of really thinking things like that, it's all about trying to bring in the healing or the balance of things. So, you know, one of the things I was telling my acupuncturist, I was, you know, because when I went on this trip, I was like, oh my gosh, like I know everything about life now, and that's crazy. If you have judgmental Virgo in you, that just pissed you off that I would even say that. I'm like, I'll call you on it, babe. But anyway, so I was told all this stuff, and I was guided through all this stuff and shown all these things about how relationships, how we should, all these things that we should do. And I told her there's going to be all these new advancements and changes with health, but it's where we have the perspective now of we see something's wrong, and what we do is we race forward to offer support and nurturing and care to bring it back up into health instead of killing it, because we have it ingrained in us that you have disease, you have something, kill it, bring it back to nothing, and then try to bring health from that position. But it's so much harder to bring health from zero, or from something that has chemicals and toxic, and you know, the poisons involved in killing it can be something that really make it a lot harder to now grow into the health space. So we're going to just start looking at illness, disease, things that are out of balance in our body in a different way of like racing in to support that and to lift it up to a higher position, instead of thinking we have to kill it in order to heal it. We don't have to kill things in order to heal them. We have to come in and stop what has been happening. We have to stop and sever those things that are feeding this disease, or feeding things not working out in your life, or feeding never being loved and having a relationship, and just start nurturing those things more, and supporting those things more, and with these efforts that empower. Because when we are empowered, we can do anything. Everybody who I see who can never change their life, and who can never come out of big potholes, and who talk in ways that keep reinforcing it and manifesting it, I always just know that someone important way back when didn't empower them. Someone way back then told them they're useless and they're worthless, and you ruined my life, and those people are just still holding on to that and manifesting a life that represents the lack that they feel inside for themselves, the self-hatred. Like, I'll feel that self-hatred in people, and it's so sad, because it's like, if you knew how much you were loved from the whole universe, how much you were loved and so supported, you would never sit there and think that you're a loser just because your mom hated you and her mom hated her, and the whole family lineage was envious of the females in their family, or whatever you have, you know. So a big part of this next year and the energies now are us awakening to that, awakening to how we are shortchanging our lives due to other people hurting us, you know. And this is the biggest issue here. I can talk about this on every single video, and still the people who are rising up out of this are small numbers every time, because intellectually you get it, you know you're doing this, but at the same time you say, how do I heal this? How do I correct this? How do I let go of what that person did to me? How do I let go of how that ruined me? You know, and so that's the journey that we're on now, to find out how. And what I was told too on this journey is that it's so easy. And I'm actually going to be sharing a whole bunch of things that help facilitate that. So the first thing that you do really need to do is to acknowledge that it is going to be easy, you know, that you are going to be able to right your ship, that you are worthy of love, that you are worthy of being happiness, worthy of feeling happiness, and worthy of living these really glorious, amazing lives. But it all, you know, starts with how you're treating yourself, how you're talking to yourself, because that's the energy that you're putting out in the world. So we're all just going to be in this massive, massive healing space. And fortunately, the energies coming in are really about helping us to get this stuff quickly. And also get it, you know, not bury it, not hide it, not, you know, anything like that. And instead just like, I need to deal with this. speak to people like this and it puts them down. I need to deal with this. Where did that come from? I don't want to hurt people. You know, so we're going to be much more humble too in what we see about ourselves that aren't really healthy. But for each and every one of us, what is not really healthy is going to be loud and clear. And it might not be your wounds. You might be kind of done with that. You know, we're able to go so much quicker and we'll continue to have miracle healings. One certain kind of session and you don't have any of your sexual abuse issues anymore, you know, things that really are like wiping the clean. There's a really big wiping the clean slate energy where if you're there, if you're in it, if you're admitting how you've lost so many years of your life because of how this person hurt you and how you haven't been able to let it go, if you can get to these certain states of open and surrender and weak in a way, and I mean that in the surrendering way, like weak, not like, oh, I'm all badass, I know what's up. You know, so many signs are like that. They're like, oh, I know what's best. Yet they don't manifest good things. Yet they aren't happy. Yet they don't have these, you know, community groups of people who really are there for them and, you know, and value who they are. So the chips on the shoulders need to go. You know, that's my point. Being in the weak state, I mean, you know, like when you're, you know, especially if you get with a really powerful healer or someone that you just know they've got gifts, you go more weak and you go more like, you surrender fully into whatever they're doing and whatever they're saying. So it's really important that we go to that position instead of just thinking we know it all and thinking we have it figured out and thinking we're so solid. You know, the more we can just be so humble and mushy and weak, you know, tell me what to do, master, I'm ready. I can tell you too that the times I've really shifted things in my life monumentally are when I am in that weak state and I just am like, please help me. I can't go on like this. I don't understand what's going on. Show me a sign. We're also, you know, in the months ahead and years ahead, we're all going to more attune to working with spirit and working with the living universe in order to bring us everything we need. So there, you know, the image with there being two worlds is absolutely correct. And they're operating right now at the same time. And, you know, what happened with me is I got attuned to the new world with where I was, with where I went on my vacation, and now I can't hardly tolerate where I'm at. Like I came back and I was like, I can't live here. I can't stay here. I have to change my whole entire life because of what happened to me and because of what I experienced through this, you know, awakening thing. So now every day it's so uncomfortable, even though it wasn't uncomfortable before this thing happened. I was like, I love my life. Everything's perfect. But it forced me out of this comfortable position to really show me there's more for you out here. There's more for you to live. There's a better energy for you to live in that helps you thrive instead of killing you day by day. And that's something I've said to all my friends here. I'm like, I don't know what it is about New Mexico, but I feel like it kills me. Like I feel like it's kryptonite for me. And I've said that for the 6 years I've been here, but I've stayed here. And it wasn't really till I got into a new energy that was very high vibrational, as high as you can go. And I was like, I want that. I want that. What am I doing in a place that my hair doesn't grow? My, you know, all these physical things too, like it's changed my health living here. And the moment I got here, my body did not, you know, respond in the same way. That's something too, a lot of people are having health things. Don't put too much importance, worry, fear into that. Our bodies are doing strange things. There's things tingling in certain spot, numbness in certain spot, weird headaches, different headaches. I know that there can be some that are actually good, but you'll feel them like at the edge of your head instead of inside your head, because the migraines and the headaches, you know, are in there. You try to press into them. But this new kind of headache thing that's happening to people, you'll almost like feel it on the surface and you're like, I have a headache, but do I? I can't tell about this. So there's different kind of things like that. Bodies are also, through the healing processes that a lot of us are going through, are going to change drastically, because what we don't realize is the wounds are fat, or the wounds show up in imbalances in our body. I remember learning from this thing, I forgot what it was called. What's it called? What's that healer called? Rosen method. I met her when I lived in Berkeley. the woman who owns it. I was working at a cafe and she came in, or the woman who started the Rosen method, and she's like 70 or 80, and that's where I'm always like, I have so many stories of how I always meet these people. But I met her at a cafe, of course. That's where I meet everyone. And but she had a person do Rosen method on me for several months, telling me about how when people have issues with their father, like something like that, I think it was the father, they tend to have really big hips, like they put on weight in their hips. You know, sexual abuse is like belly, you know, father abandonment or something that's an issue is like hips, and they have all these things, you know, their body takes on these certain shapes. But she was talking about how this one healing was done on this one session was done on this woman's, you know, on her, this hands-on healing, and that her thighs like shrunk like half. and they all saw it, you know, that's why they're like, this stuff is real. So it is really true that things can change about us. So be positive about that. You know, I want you to, we reject our bodies so much because we've been fed the wrong images of what's beautiful. What is beautiful is actually kind of sickening because it's covering something that's so miserable and not happy. So our whole concept of what is beautiful is has warped us, you know. So it's had us really rejecting our bodies and really rejecting, we're just never good enough, you know. So with this healing, a lot of those things are just going to go, and you're just going to notice people just walking different, moving different, moving more, you know, really kind of knowing that we need to move the body, whether it's hiking, dancing, having sex. It's just really important to kind of be in our bodies with movement. And there's going to be a lot of really big, beautiful changes where people are just like, I love my belly now. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Who says that something's wrong with this? This was something too, I thought about that on my trip. Because they were just feeding me with like 10 books. I got way too much information. I couldn't write at all. It was just like, da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I would live them through, they would like examples and da, 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 that's how, da, da. It was just like this educational eyes up for top the whole time. Da, 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 da. But, oh gosh, what was I going to say? Something with bodies. Oh, so I was thinking about bodies, and I was thinking about how so many people I know I was just thinking about people I know who have bodies that what we don't think as stereotypically beautiful, but they think they're beautiful. And I was noticing how, like, I never think they're anything but beautiful now because they do. They think they have these sexy, you know, size 16, size 18 body, and you think that too, you know? You're like, oh my God, you're so sexy. God, you got great curves. But had you had that same person who's like, I'm so ugly, I'm so embarrassed of my body, I'm too big, I'm horrible, you know, someone else who's thinking that, that's how we see them too. We go, oh gosh, that person, there's something weird there. What's wrong with that person? Or, you know, their soul like is half of what it should be because they're beating themselves up with something that's so big, their body. That's, you know, it's, and I don't mean big like that, but I mean, it's our body. We're moving in this. It's our everything. It's our body. It's our car, our house. It's our body, you know? So to hate that and to reject that is very indicative of how the rest of the world is going to look for that person. So this energy and months to come is really going to be focused on kind of shifting those body images, even really kind of, you know, realizing too that with fat, it's so often protection. So if you are sexually abused, you take on fat as a way to almost make yourself not appealing to others. And you don't realize that that's why you're doing it, but that's why you're doing it. So you're shutting down your sexuality. You're shutting down the potentials of having a lover who could so heal you and so transform your whole life, but you're not allowing it because you were abused and you were hurt, and now you're just rejecting yourself for that. So the sun's about going down. Oops, I didn't time this correctly. So why does it only say we've been recording for 4 minutes? That's not possible, right? Okay. So That's weird. Okay, let's just hope that this is going to work. I did record this already and it didn't match up with the words didn't match up with the video. So I had to do it again. I hope that's weird that I'm now seeing it at 4 minutes. So, anyway, be open to this healing. Be open to things correcting. Be open to things going back to when they did have health. Be open to awakenings, to when we stopped living, to when we stopped valuing ourselves. Just be open to all these things that want to come forward, because one of the things too with our star families, when they're working with us and healing us, there's more power when we say, here, this, help me with this. You know, kind of direct them even when you go to bed at night, because a lot of work happens in our sleep. But say, I want you to help me with this. I want you to help me with how I reject my body. You know, and just watch how things will just start shifting. And I was actually guided into how to do this in these classes, because it's over, you know, you need several weeks of doing this. So I'm going to be bringing a lot of the wisdom that they gave me about this to help us do this, so that we really can shift and we really can be happy and we really can feel positive about no matter what happens in our lives. Because that's what we're missing out on, is that we're not feeling positive for things. We're thinking like with the health thing where, oh, it's sick, kill it. You know, instead, oh, it's sick, let's give it love and support and light and heal it, you know. So it's transforming. We, you know, even on my trip, I was up on this mountain where I didn't know where I was, because the whole week I didn't use maps at all. I didn't even use maps to get there. I was like, I'll figure it out. And I did. And so I didn't use a map for the whole time I was there, and I would just drive every day. I went everywhere. And I was up on this mountain and my rental vehicle died. And it broke down, and it was like, you know, an hour or more before sunset. There was only one bar on my phone, and like 10% battery. And like, and I don't know where I'm at. I couldn't even call and say where I'm at. I'm up on a mountain. What mountain? I don't even know what mountain. So it was this situation that could really frazzle some people. And I was just like, okay, you know, okay. This is what's happening. And I just stayed so positive about it. There wasn't an ounce of fear in me. I took that disease and I didn't break it down. Oh no, what am I gonna do? What if I get trapped up here? What if a bear eats me? What if, oh my God, you know, mountain lion, oh my God, I'm gonna die up here, you know. That's where you take disease and you bring it down to death. That's how you think of it that way. But take disease, take what's out of order, and bring it to the light. Okay, this means there's an adventure ahead for me. You know, this means something exciting is coming, and it did, and it was fun, and I was totally supported. I was totally taken care of. It was no big deal at all. Next day, they delivered me a car, a new vehicle for the rest of my trip. So it all worked out great. But, so yes. And, okay, I think I'm going to stop because it's getting dark, and also because I'm not really sure this is even recording. So I might have to redo it all again anyway. Okay, so you have a beautiful day, and I will be back soon, and readings are coming, and so much more is on the way. Okay, have a beautiful